Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks. Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Continuing Education, Bachelor's Degree Program, Elective Course, Rural Development, BRDE-101 Rural Development, Indian Context, Block-1 Rural Society, Unit 2 Rural Economic Structure. 2.0 Aims and Objectives. This unit aims at presenting an overall picture of rural economic structure. It deals with various components of rural economic structure viz. Jajmani system 2. Modern rural economy, features of Indian agriculture, allied occupations, rural market, poverty and unemployment etc. After studying this unit, you should be able to understand agrarian society, understand various aspects of multifaceted rural economy, explain the importance of agriculture in Indian economy, describe the trends in Indian agriculture and allied sectors and potential for further improvements, understand the problems of Indian agriculture such as inequality in distribution of land, problem of credit, and initiatives to eradicate these problems, and understand the extension of market economy to rural areas. 2.1 Introduction. The rural economic structure of India is very complex and unique as compared to rural economies of other countries. Normally in the process of earning livelihood, rural people enter into various kinds of economic relationships, but caste-ridden Indian society makes these economic relationships more complex by imposing certain restrictions on it. You will be aware of the fact that caste still dominates the social relationship pattern in rural India. Hierarchical order in caste system along with Jajmani system, which is a product of caste system, determines the socio-economic relation. This kind of economic arrangements in caste system had given birth to the Jajma system, in which socio-economic interdependence between various castes were inevitable. People either render their services to others or receive services of other people in institutionalized manner, i.e. norms of Jajmani system were relevant in the context of economic aspect only. In India, since centuries, agriculture has been the common occupation. All castes are engaged in it, but lower castes by and large are either marginal farmers or landless laborer. Notable feature in this regard was that for agriculture purpose, laborers were hired on caste basis and undoubtedly they were engaged for generations. It is safe to conclude that relationship between farmers and agricultural laborer was hereditary. Farmers, patron, found themselves morally bound to provide all kinds of help not only for livelihoods of their workers but also to fulfill other requirements like financial help on occasions of marriage, birth, death and illness. They were supposed to play role of mediator in their family disputes. Thus a paternal attitude was expected from them. Hence, they were not merely employers but they were respected and treated as Malik or God and called as Annadatta by the hired laborer or service providers. The wage was not fixed. At the time of harvesting, the part of produce was given to all the service providing castes such as landless laborer who worked for whole year, barber, who cut hair and make regular shaving to them and their family members, washerman washes clothes of their family for whole year, blacksmith who provides agricultural equipments and repair it whenever required, potters, sweepers, shoemakers and other service providing castes. The quantity and amount of share of agricultural product to each service providing caste was normally on the pattern of Jajmani system. At the time of festival and other ceremonies like marriage and birth etc., they were given gifts both in kind and in cash. William Weiser in his study of a village mentioned 17 types of rewards that were given to these service providers. The few among these, including free accommodation, free cow dung for fuel, interest-free loan, help in medical treatment, small part of land for cultivation. The amount of these Rewards is determined on the capacity of judgment and request of the service provider. Harold Gould treated these rewards very crucial for judgmani relationship. Mutual relationship was very strong and stable. Neither judgman, patron, nor Kameen Praja, client service provider, finds themselves comfortable to break these relationships. S.C. Dubey held that farmers could not easily change their Kameen, because other people did not accept to give the services which were supposed to be the right of their caste colleagues who was already working because it was treated as against the ethics of judgmani system. He had to face opposition from the existing Kameen. Each caste had Jati Panchayat that protected the interest of every member of its caste. If the matter was reported to Jati Panchayat, people who are found guilty of such acts were punished. Sometimes Kameens were also not allowed to leave their judgman. William Weiser observed in Karimpur village that washerman had been forced not to leave the village. The classical forms of above-mentioned judgmani system are in the process of change and losing its stronghold on rural economy. Several factors are responsible for it, such as expansion of literacy, emergence of new occupations which are neutral for all castes, legislation regarding minimum wage, abolition of zamindari system and bonded labor, development programs, employment guarantee schemes, industrialization and increased rate of migration. Rural economy, both farm sector and non-farm sector since independence have undergone structural change. These are: 1. Farm sector is now more modernized with increased irrigation facility, use of high-yield variety seeds, fertilizer and pesticides have increased many times. Now the machines like harvester and sprinklers etc. are in frequent used. These factors led to changes in judgmani system by reducing dependence on the manpower. Do you know that harvester can cut and clean the wheat crop of 1 hectare in just approximately 1.25 hours, while the same requires 36 man-days and 7 pair of bulls? All these have become possible through easy accessibility of institutional finance, land reforms and availability of technical know-how. Marketing agricultural product have been ascertained. Krishi Upaj Mandi Samiti has been established. Minimum support prices are fixed for various crops to save the interests of farmers. Crop insurance schemes are now being implemented. These have reduced the risk factor involved in farm sectors. 2. Due to urbanization and industrialization, the rate of migration to urban areas has undoubtedly increased by many times, but majority of migrated people maintained their strong relations to their native village. Sometimes their family reside in village, and they not only frequently visit their village but also invest there, having seen the village by purchasing land and making home. 3. Cash inflow from migrated people and through the rural employment guarantee schemes and marketing of agricultural product have created demand that led to the expansion of market economy to rural areas. Expansion of media and information technology played the role of catalyst in this regard. Consumerism can now be seen in rural areas also. Better infrastructure facilities like roads, electricity, telephones, and schools have also played important role in the process of development of village economy. 4. Occupational mobility is increasing and people are trying to get rid of traditional pattern for choice of occupation. Caste is no barrier for selection of occupation. This is possible because of the availability of new occupations which have no caste assignments, like trading of electronic items, pesticide. 5. Rural economy is getting more rational in terms of selection of occupation. Profitability is considered as motivating factor even in non-profitable occupation like pottery and other kinds of earthen good. Bullock cart making and basket making are losing its attraction. The same trend is seen in agriculture also. For example, cash crops are preferred instead of coarse cereals. Workforce is hired on the basis of requirements and no liability except payment of wages now preferred by the landlords or businessmen. Wages are given in cash on a market price and not in kind. 6. People, both farriers and businessmen, are ready to take risk in their occupations for more profit. Now entrepreneurship can be seen in them. They are now investing by considering the future. Earlier farmers produced for consumption and surplus was sent to market, but now farmers are producing for the market. Innovations are being introduced in agriculture and other sectors very frequently. 2.3 Agrarian Society. Independent India has inherited an agrarian society predominantly based on agriculture for its livelihood from colonial rule. In Indian agriculture, different types of land relation existed, which in turn determined the shares of agricultural produce among the social groups. Before independence, three types of land tenures, i.e. zamindari, jagirdari and raitwari, used to determine the land relations of various socio-economic groups associated with agriculture. For instance, zamindari area, the zamindar received by far the agricultural income than the cultivating tenants. The share of zamindar was called malikana and it differed from state to state. The dharnindars were middlemen to collect revenue for the state from cultivators. The emergence of Jagirdari system could be traced from Mughal period. The Jagirdars were officers and servants of the emperor, and Jagirs were normally assigned to them in lieu of their pay. The Jagirdars had to pay tribute to ruler of the state, which was not subject of revision. The Jagirdars enjoyed freehold rights in respect of land assigned to them. Raitwari system was creation of British rule. It was individual peasant proprietorship. Under this system, individual cultivator was transformed into the owner of the land he tilled and was responsible to pay revenue directly to the state. These systems were exploitative in nature and embraced all aspects of life of the people. Thus, just after independence, Indian agrarian society had wide gap in terms of land holding, income, wealth and standards of living between different strata of the society. The task then lay ahead of providing opportunities of people to enable them to lead a meaningful, dignified life. Since then, growth with social justice has remained the basic objective of rural development in India. 2.4 Agriculture in India. Agriculture has always been a key sector for Indian economy. It provides food grains for their population, raw material for industries, earn valuable foreign exchange through export of surplus agricultural products, and main source of employment for rural population. The share agriculture in GDP of India was 56.6%, which reduced to 36.4% in 1982-83 and 18.5% in 2006-07. It is evident from the Table 2.L given below. Table 2.1 Average GDP growth rates of agriculture and other sectors at 1999-2000 prices in percent. Look at the screen for table content. The Table 2.2 makes it clear that between 1950-51 and 2006-07 production of food grain consistently increased at an average annual rate of 2.5%. Agriculture has played important role in food grain self-sufficiency and food security. Total sown area was in 1950-51 was 1,187.5 lakh hectare. It increased to 1,409.6 lakh hectare in 2003-04. Normally, area under food grain production was higher than the production of non-food grains, but its share reduced in 1950-51. 76.7% land was used for food grain production, which was reduced to 65.6% in 2003-04. India, 2007, p.65. Growth of all major crops has increased during 1950-51 until 2008-09. The following table shows the growth of major crops. Table 2.2 Growth in agricultural production of major crop. Look at the screen for table content. The table 2 shows that there is remarkable improvement in the production of wheat. It has increased approximately 7.33 times during the period of 60 to 61 to 09 to 10. The yield per hectare has also increased approximately 3.3 times. The production of rice has also increased 3.6 times and yield increased approximately 2.1 times in the same period. Consistent growth in food grain and non-food grain products has made India one of the largest producer of agricultural products. But yield per hectare is not satisfactory if compared to other countries. India ranked 38 in yield per hectare of wheat and 52 in yield per hectare of rice in 2001. Table shows that improvement in agricultural production started during the period of Green Revolution. The Green Revolution programs included use of modern technology, high-yielding variety of seeds, fertilizer, agricultural research, land conservation, development of irrigation facilities, rural electrification and road developments, extensions of financial institutions to rural. It is being observed that since 2002-03 the agricultural production is almost stagnating. It is really a matter of concern because agriculture is still a key sector to Indian economy, and all other sectors depend on it. We need another green revolution to avoid food crises and accelerate overall growth rate of Indian economy. Studies show that India has potential to improve their agricultural production by increasing the productivity. For example, India has potential to produce 4,000-5,800 tons of a kilogram rice per hectare and 6,800 of a kilogram wheat per hectare, while it is producing only 2,186 kilograms rice and 2,891 kilograms wheat per hectare. The same trend can be seen in other agricultural products also. Higher level of productivity can achieved by increasing irrigation facility to non-irrigated area, reducing dependency on monsoon, land improvement programs, reducing land degradation and improving fertility, implementing efforts to make land holding of appropriate size and economically viable, and by making efforts to make accurate forecasting of weather condition and extensive research in different kinds of agricultural production activities. 2.4.1 Cropping pattern in India. Study of cropping pattern helps us to identify the weakness and strength of process of agricultural production and locate the areas where improvement can be made. By cropping pattern we mean the proportion of area under different crops at different times. It has three aspects: net sown area, gross cropped area and the index of multiple cropping. By elite sown area we mean the total land under cultivation. The gross cropped area refers to the total land under cultivation, counting each field as many times as the number of crops grown on it in a single year. The index of multiple cropping refers to intensity of cropping. It is the ratio of gross cropped area to net sown area. By the NJ of 1990, the index of multiple cropping was about 135%, which indicates that there is substantial potential for expanding double cropping to areas which are still single cropped. Cropping pattern in India can be classified as follows. Cropping pattern in India. A. According to seasons. B. According to its use. 1. Kharif crops. I. Food crops. 2. Rabi crops. 2. Non-food crops / cash jute. Cotton, sugarcane. 3. Jaid crops. I. Horticulture and vegetables. A. According to season, there are three types of crops. A. Kharif crops. These crops are sown in between May to September. Major crops of this season are rice, jawar, bajra and black gram. Cotton, sugarcane, jute, sesame plant, soybean, groundnut and tobacco. 2. Rabi crops. These crops are sown between October and December. Major Rabi crops are wheat, gram, peanut, mustard, and barley. A.3 Jared crops. These crops are sown between March and June. Main crops in this category are vegetable, black grams and fruits like watermelon. Approximately of the total agricultural production, 60% come from Kharif, 25% from Rabi and 15% from Jared crops. Table 2.3 Trend of agricultural production according to season. In million tons. Look at the screen for table content. The table reflects the shift in the dominance and importance of Kharif crops, both for food grain and non-food grain products. You should be aware that Kharif crops are of monsoon season. Hence, successful failure of monsoon affect agricultural production. For instance, for the country as a whole, the weighted seasonal rainfall during southwest monsoon in June-September 2007 was 5% higher than the long period average. It resulted into increase in almost all agricultural products. Area under major crops of India. Food crops including cereals, pulses, vegetables, fruits cover nearly % of the total cropped area. The area occupied during 1960-61 to 2009-10 by major crops are given in the table. Table 2.4 Area under major crops in million hectares. Look at the screen for table content. The table indicates that during period of 1960-61 to 2001, the area under rice, wheat, oilseeds, rind, sugar increased remarkably, and area under pulses and cotton increased slightly, while area under jute is almost stagnant. The compound rate of growth in area of major crops during 2009 and 2009-10 are rice minus 0.03%, wheat 1.21%, pulses minus 1.17%, food grains minus 0.29%, cotton 2.13%, oilseeds minus 2.26%, sugarcane 0.77%. Economic Survey 10 to 11 middle dot page minus 120 10% of the total cropped area comes under plantation crops. Plantation crops are very important for Indian economy. These are not only the major source of foreign exchange but also provide employment. It includes tea, coffee, natural rubber, coconuts, cashew nuts, etc. India is the largest producer of cashew nuts. Approximately 0.57 million ton cashew nut is produced in 2.40 thousand hectare of land. India 2007 p. 71. Cropping of vanilla started in India in 1990 and I11200405 101 metric ton vanilla was produced on 27.811 hectare land. 12,148 million tons coconut was produced on 1.93 million hectare land. India is the fourth largest producer of natural rubber. The area under natural rubber increased about 8% from 5.71 lakh hectare in 2002-03 to 6.2 lakh hectare in 2006-07. During the same period, production increased by 31%. It happened because of the increase in yield per hectare. 2.88 lakh tons coffee was produced in 2006-07, little over the previous year's production of 2.741 lakh tons. In 2005-06, India produced 97,127 million kilogram tea. In 2008-09, and estimated to produced 991.18 million kilogram in 2006-07. Economic Survey 2007-08 and 2010-11. India is the second largest producer of vegetable and fruits. Fruits are produced on 53.39 lakh hectare land, and 11.09 crore ton. Vegetables were produced on 71.31 lakh hectare land. Cultivation of flowers is a remarkable change in cropping pattern. Approximately 1.14 lakh hectares land is being utilized for cultivation of flowers. Medicinal plants are also being grown in India. 2.4.2 Phases in agricultural development. Agricultural development since independence may be categorized into 4 phases. These are I. Pre-Green Revolution, 1950-51 to mid-1960s. 2. Early Green Revolution, phase of mid-1960s to later 1970s. 3. Wider technology disseminations period, from 1980 to 1990. 4. Early reforms period, from 1990s to mid-1990s. We find that the thrust was changing depending on the situation in the first phase when land reforms were introduced. In the season phase, i.e. Green Revolution phase, thrust was given to improve productivity. In his period, production of food grains grew about 2.21% per annum. The productivity in general and production of wheat in particular increased remarkably. In the third phase, stress was given to extend the Green Revolution measures to larger part of the country and expansion of infrastructure like road, electricity, institutional credit, agricultural research and extension activities. Fourth phase start in 1990. Due to GATT and Dunkel resolutions, India started giving stress to link Indian economy to world economic order. This phase witnessed lowest growth rate in the production of food grains. Growth rates in production of food grains during 1989-90 to 2006-07 was only 1.18% and growth in yield of all food grain was 1.43%. Economic Survey, 2006-07, p16. The same trend was found in production of oilseeds and sugarcane also. The situation became really alarming for feeding the growing population. 2.43 Marketing of agricultural product. To regularize marketing of agricultural products, central and state governments had passed Agricultural Products Market Committee (APMC) Act in 1950. There were at that time 286 regulated markets in India. Its number rose to 7,521 on 31st March 2003. At present, out of 27,294 weekly markets, approximately 15% work under this Act. India 2007. These markets facilitate farmers to sell their products at minimum support price, which are fixed and revised from time to time by the government to give appropriate benefits to the farmers. 2.4.4 Regional imbalance in agricultural development. Due to natural conditions and several other factors, all states and all natural regions of India could not receive the benefits of agricultural development programs. Punjab, Haryana, and UP achieved remarkable growth during the Green Revolution period, which was much higher than other parts of the country. During 80s, agricultural output in West Bengal grew at 6% per annum. Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Andhra Pradesh grew much faster in agricultural production during 1999 and 201-02. The growth rate of traditional Green Revolution states up, Punjab and Haryana, who accounted for major share in food grain production, have been very slow during the decade of 2000. There is wide difference in the use of fertilizer amongst the states. For example, per hectare consumption of fertilizers in 2067 in Punjab was 209.2 kilograms, while in Orissa it was 46.7 kilograms per hectare, which was much less than the country's average of 112.7 kilograms per hectare. There were widespread awareness that proper use of fertilizer can increase the productivity substantially. Substantial irrigation potential has been created through major, medium and minor irrigation projects. The total irrigation potential in the country has increased 81.1 million hectare in 1992 to 102.8 million hectare in 2006-07 ES 2007-08. Around 43% of net zone area is irrigated and irrigation intensity is approximately 140. 11 Plan Draft Volume 3 p.46. Northern India is well irrigated while southern part is less litigated. According to reports on Currency and Finance, 2001-02 97.8% of the gross cropped area in Punjab was irrigated while in Maharashtra only 18.1% of cultivated area was irrigated. Indian Economy, by Puri, Mishra P. 280. 11 Plan Draft mentions the need for empowerment of Water User Association, WUA, for proper utilization of major and medium irrigation projects. The draft noted great variation information of WUA and irrigated area. For example, 10,790 WUA were formed in Andhra Pradesh, which covered 4,800,000 hectare area, while in UP only 24 WUA formed and 10.55 thousand hectares area was covered. Haryana, Karnataka and Orissa are some states where WUA were formed in large numbers. Micro-irrigation comprises drip and sprinklers. They are treated as a tool for effective management of resources which save water, fertilizer and electricity. Drip irrigation save 25% to 60% water and increase yield up to 60%. Sprinklers save 25 to 33% water. Here again we see state-wise variation. 11 Plan Draft noted that Maharashtra has 46% of the area under the drip irrigation in the country, Karnataka 21%, Tamil Nadu 14%, Andhra Pradesh 12%. In other states its coverage is very poor. According to report of 54th round of NES survey conducted in 1998, more than 80% households were using tractors and power tillers in northern states like Punjab, Haryana and up, while in eastern states like Assam, Bihar, Orissa and West Bengal, less than 25% households were using tractors and power tillers. The average size of operational land holding is also not uniform throughout India. According to 1990-91 Agricultural Census, average size of operational holding in India was 1.55 hectare. Nagaland has 6.82 hectare, Rajasthan 4.11, Arunachal Pradesh 3.72 and Punjab 3.61 hectare, whereas in UP it was only 0.9, in West Bengal 0.9, in Tamil Nadu 0.93 and Bihar 0.83 hectare. The low size of operational land holding makes agriculture economically unprofitable. Cultivators are not able to apply modern techniques for better utilization of land. Check your progress. 1. Note: I. Write your answer in the space provided below. 2. Check your answer by reading the text once again. 1. What are the main features of the modern rural economy? 2. Discuss the different phases of growth of Indian agriculture. 2.5 Allied occupations. Agriculture is undoubtedly the key sector of rural economy, but we cannot ignore the importance of allied occupations in rural economy. These are the main sources of livelihood for the people who are not engaged in agriculture: landless laborer, marginal and small farmers. There is a wider range of allied occupations in rural areas. Remarkable feature in this regard is that whereas agriculture is uniformly adopted by all caste, each allied occupation is traditionally assigned to particular caste. For example, Yadavas and Khosi are assigned to dairy, Gadaria and Pal to cow farming, Nishad and Kevat to fisheries, Kumhar to potteries, carpenter to wooden equipments, blacksmith, Vishwakarma to iron equipments and repairing of it too. Kori, Sutrakar and Juraha to handloom weaving, some nomadic castes to honey collection. However, due to modernization, industrialization and some other factors. This trend is getting changed. Few occupations are losing their place. For example, earthen potteries and small brisk making is losing their demand as substitute is available at low cost, and these occupations are no longer economically profitable. Hence, people engaged in these occupations are joining other occupations. The most important allied occupations are animal husbandry, dairy, and fisheries. As per the 11 Plan draft, contribution of livestock to GDP is about 4.5 and the sector employs 5.5% of the total workforce. In 2006-07, this sector contributed 0.1 million tons of milk, 51 billion eggs, 95 million kilogram wool and 2.3 million tons of meat. The 17th livestock census has placed the total livestock population at 485 million. The production of milk in India was 17 million tons in 1950-51. It rose to 102 million tons in 2007-08. India is the largest producer of milk in the world. The per capita availability of milk has also increased from 112 grams per day in 1968-69 to 246 grams in 2006-07, but it is still low from the world average of 265 grams per day. Around 80% of milk is produced in unorganized sector and 20% is equally shared by cooperatives and private dairies. 1.2 lakh village-level dairy cooperative societies spread over 265 districts in country. India ranked 5th in the production of eggs. During 2004-05, 45 billion eggs were produced in India. This sector also provides employment to large number of people. Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, West Bengal and PWB account for more than 60% of country's egg production. The consumption of eggs and chicken meats per person per year is 42 and 1.6 kilograms respectively, and it has immense scope for growth of this industry. The export of poultry products in 2006-07 were 316 crore. Fishing is another important economic activity. Fishery, aquaculture and allied activities provided employment to over 14 million people in 2005-06. Fish production has increased by 4.4% and reached 6.9 million tons in 2006-07, of which 3.0 are marine and 3.8 inland. Fish production earns valuable foreign exchange by exporting marine products. In 2005-06, India earned foreign exchange value of 7,019 crore by exporting 5,51,000 tons of marine products. Fishing is the major source of livelihood for the people of coastal areas of India. Sheep, pig and goat farming and honey collection are some other sectors which are providing employment in rural areas. Approximately 128 lakh pigs and 158 pig farms are run either by state or central government. According to 2003 census of cattle, there are 6.147 crore sheep, 12.436 crore goat in India, and 50 lakh families are engaged in their farming. During 2005-06, production of wool in India was estimated up to 500 lakh kg. Check your progress to note I. Write your answer in the space provided below. 2. Check your answer by reading the text once again. 1. What is the importance of livestock in India's rural economy? 2.6 Labor force in rural sector as far as employment and sources of livelihood is concerned. The census 2001 reflects the importance of rural sector. 72.18 crore population still reside in rural areas. 74.25 crore out of 102.86 crore are rural population. Table 2.5 Categories of labor force in India in crore. Look at the screen for table content. The table 7 shows that out of the total labor force of 42.22 crores, 31.00 crores are rural, i.e. 77.07% labor force are rural. And of the total rural labor force, 40.22% are cultivators, followed by agricultural labor 33.03%. These two jointly share 77.25% of total rural labor force. It shows the importance and dependency of rural population on agricultural sector. Official statistics suggest that the incidence of agricultural labor has been on the rise. The share of agricultural labor to rural workforce increased from 30% in 1981 to 33% in 2001. 2.6.1 Rural poverty and rural unemployment. Poverty is curse to humanity. Despite of all efforts, the number of the poor barely changed. Over 300 million people are still below the poverty line. However, percentage of people below poverty line has reduced remarkably. The table given below is the picture of reducing the trend of poverty amongst rural and urban population. Table 2.6, nose. And percentage of people below poverty line, nose. In million. Look at the screen for table content. The table shows that both the numbers and percentage of people below poverty line in rural population is on decline in comparison to urban population. The rural poverty concentrated in agricultural labor and artisan households. Agricultural labor household accounted for 45% of rural population in 1993-94, as well as in 2004-05. 111% share of self-employed in agriculture among the rural people has fallen from 32% to 21%. Rural poverty is mainly due to unemployment, the backwardness of agriculture and low wage structure. Rural unemployment can be divided into two categories. 1. Seasonal unemployment. Large part of agricultural land is single-cropped, hence, people are unemployed for several months in a year. 2. Disguised unemployment. It refers to extra workforce engaged in agricultural work. Approximately every sixth person engaged in agriculture is extra-laid more than the need. National Sample Survey collects data on employment. 55th round of its report shows that usual status of unemployment in rural areas in ratio to labor force was 1.8% in 1983, which rose to 1.96% in 1999 to 2000. The causes of rural unemployment are rapid growth in population, uncertainty in agriculture, low size of land holdings, lack of allied occupations, fall of cottage industries and old techniques applied in agriculture. 2.7 Rural credit system in India. Capital is required for any kind of productive activity. Farming being productive activity also requires capital. Since the beginning of Green Revolution era, inputs in agriculture has increased. High-yielding variety seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, use of one harvester and tractor, use of electric and digital water pumps, sprinkles for irrigation, storage of agricultural product, all these require capital. In addition to it, rural people need credit for non-productive requirements also, like marriage, medical treatment, etc. Large part of rural population is constituted of marginal cultivators and landless laborers. 59th round of SOCE survey reports on farmers noted that 48.6% households were indebted, and out of total indebted farmers 61% had operational holding below 1 hectare, and of the total outstanding amount 41.6% was taken for the purpose other than farm-related activities. It is interesting to know who provide loan to rural people. Traditionally, sahukars, moneylenders and big landlords used to provide credit to rural people. The policy of financial inclusion, i.e. delivery of banking and other financial services at affordable cost to majority of population, especially disadvantaged and lower income groups of people, has played crucial role in changing rural credit system. 59th round survey report of NSSO noted that in 2003, 57.7% of the outstanding amount was provided by institutional channels including government, and remaining 42.3% from money lenders, traders, relatives and friends. The experts group estimated that in 2003, out of 4,800 crore from non-institutional channels, Rs middle. 1,800 crore were taken by formless at an interest rate of 30% per annum. Here, question arises, why do people borrow at such high rates of interest from money lenders or landlords, etc.? When financial institutions like banks are available, there are two factors liable for it. Firstly, illiteracy of borrower class. Secondly, less paperwork and easily and quickly availability of loan. Thirdly, availability of loan for non-productive work like marriage, etc. The higher rate of interest increases burden on borrowers and resulted into the dispossession of land or other valuable items. It indicates need of expansion of formal institutions like bank to rural areas and formation of policies regarding their specific needs. The Farm Credit Package announced in June 2004 stipulated, among other things, doubling the flow of institutional credit for agriculture in the ensuing 3 years. Table 2.7, Institutional Credit Inflow to Agriculture Sector. Ask or look at the screen for table content. You are listening to this audiobook on Audio Learn IGNOU. Kisan Credit Card Scheme was introduced in August 1988 to provide adequate and timely support from banking system to the farmers for their cultivation needs. Up to December 2007, 705.55 lakh Kisan credit cards have been issued. Check your progress. 3. Note: I. Write your answer in the space provided below. 2. Check your answer by reading the text once again. 1. Why do you think it is necessary for banks to provide credit to rural households? 2. Discuss briefly the traditional form of rural credit system. 2.8 Land management. Land management is rather new concept in the context of farmers' efforts for the use of land. It refers to optimum and rational utilization of available resources for maximum output from land. It not only includes use of high seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, modern technology and proper irrigation, but also includes soil improvement programs, water recharging, etc. 11 Plan draft mention the merit of integrated watershed development programs started in 994. These are soil loss and surface runoff reduced by 52% to 85%, the area under sowing and irrigation increased, productivity/yield increased, and net return also increased up to 63%, availability of drinking water and groundwater level increased. Other benefits like fodder availability, employment opportunity and income increased significantly in the villages where the project was implemented. The finding suggests that it should be implemented in other areas also. 11 Plan Draft V3P.26 Soil testing by soil laboratory run by government, use of weather forecasting in agriculture, use of crop insurance schemes, use of technical knowledge provided by agricultural research institutes like Krishi Vigyan Kendra and their extension activities, and implementation of specific measures for drought-prone and food-prone areas are also part of it. The 11th Plan Draft also reported that post-harvest losses are about 20 to 30% in different horticulture crops. This happens because of inadequate infrastructural development for post-harvest management, including pre-cooling, etc. Land management is needed to reduce the rate of soil degradation, which is causing yield loss up to 33 to 67% in various regions. 2.9 Market economy middle dot. Now market economy is extending to rural areas also, because of globalization. Increased prosperity trend of cash wage payment which has increased purchasing capacity of era, people and impact of urbanization, industrialization and mass media. Traditional rural markets are weekly hats or markets and melas on specific occasions. You may have heard Pushkar Mela in Rajasthan and Sonepur Mela in Bihar. Weekly hut or markets are found in almost all the big villages and even rural areas adjoining big cities, where shopkeepers from different places regularly visit the village and install their temporary shop in open place. The place is however not permanent but almost fixed by tradition. Even customers are well aware of the place of particular shop. Sometimes shopkeepers pay rent to the panchayat of the village or village administration. The relationship between shopkeepers and buyers are relatively stable. The right to place of open, temporary shop is sometimes hereditary and carries from one generation to another. It is better to call them stalls. The items available in these weekly hut are of daily requirement which varies from vegetables and food grains to clothes and cosmetics. The increased purchasing capacity of rural people and desire to spend on luxury items rather than to save the cash has changed the form of market. The role of media in changing the consumption trend cannot be ignored. Reports of market survey estimate that in future rural people of India would be the major consumer. Many big companies of consumer products and electronic products like TV and mobile are now concentrating on era markets. Permanent shops are now found in villages having relatively larger population. These shops are however not specialized and shopkeepers generally keep all the items of daily needs like packed snacks, spices, food grains, toothpaste, cosmetics, general medicines, mobile cash, ads and sometimes shoes and ready-made garments are also stored by these shopkeepers. Prices are decided by the market trend and people are now getting aware of MRP. Factors responsible for changing the dimension of rural market, i.e. from Me1A and weekly hut to permanent shops and from bare necessity items to all kinds of consumable items, are as follows. 1. Green Revolution, White Revolution and employment generation schemes have increased the purchasing capacity of rural people. 2. Expansion of mass media and communication technology and mode of modern advertisement have developed desire among rural people to live lavishly to the extent they can afford it. 3. Migration has also played a crucial role in this context. Studies show that inland migration in India is by and large temporary. People maintain their contacts with their native place and regularly visit to native place. Male population often migrates, and their female members remain in the village. They not only send money to their family, but they also make them aware of urban lifestyle and encourage them to live like that. 11 Plan draft estimated that approximately 0.27 crore migrant working people in India 1999 to 2000 and about 2 crore seasonal migrant. 4. The growing urban-rural contact has reduced differences in rural and urban life style. It is all because of development in road and rail transport system. 5. Companies of consumer products are concentrating on rural population and making efforts to get their product popular in rural areas. 2.10 Rural industries. Rural cottage industries and craftsmanship has been internationally recognized in ancient and in medieval period. Machilipatnam, Karan and Varanasi were the centers of Mural cotton industries. You would have heard of Malmal of Dhaka, a type of silk fabric. Quality of this kind of fabric was so fine that sari of Malamal was supposed to pass through a ring. But growing industrialization and the policies of British government ruined the Indian rural cottage industries. After independence, attempts have been made to revive rural cottage industries. It is assumed that rural cottage industries may reduce rural poverty and unemployment rate and generate rural prosperity. Rural industries can be divided into two categories. First, rural small-scale industries, which includes carpet industry and handloom industry, etc. Second, rural cottage industries, which include earthen potteries, clay potteries, bead and basket making, shoemaking and other leatherwork, and handmade sugar, gur, collage industries are different from small-scale industries on certain criteria, such as small-scale industry uses power for production whereas cottage industry does not. The number of labor employed in cottage industry is less than 10 and normally those employed are mainly family members. It is also differentiated on the basis of capital invested in it. Rural industries are promoted mainly through Khadi and Gramodyog and Koya Rural Economic Structure Board. Central government and state governments are providing all kinds of help in this regard. Technical know-how like packaging and designing are provided by research institutions. Marketing and export are encouraged through exhibitions organized by state/central government. According to India 2007, IL 1955-56, the total production in rural industries was 16.47 billion rupees, of which 5.54 billion was shared by Khadi and 10.93 billion was shared by other rural industries. It rose to 10,902.43 billion rupees in 2004-05. The share of Khadi was 461.54 billion and 10,458.59 billion rupees for rural industries. It shows that during this period, the production level grew approximately by 662 times. According to India 2007, 76.7 lakh people were employed in it, of which 8.63 lakh in Khadi and 68.14 lakh in other rural industries. In international market, Sri Lanka has monopoly in coconut coir industry, but India is also a major supplier of product of coir. Income. Fr. Coir products was about 1900 crore rupees in 2004-05. Production of coir and its product was 3.851 lakh metric tons as per temporary estimates during 2004-05. Export of coir and its product was of 502.09 crore rupees. It was 6.13% more than previous year. All these statistics show the growing importance of rural industries in Indian economy and in amelioration of rural poverty and rural unemployment. 2.11 Let us sum up. Agriculture still continues to be the main source of livelihood for majority of population. The growth of other sectors of Indian economy is also dependent on it. The policy makers have always paid attention to the development of agriculture sector. The area of attention, however, have been changing due to the requirements. During last 6 decades, Indian agriculture grew consistently. The growth of Indian agriculture and several land reform measures were introduced to achieve the goal of an egalitarian society and increase agriculture production. In this unit, efforts have been to acquaint learners with cropping pattern and sketch view of diversification of Indian agriculture with the allied sectors like animal husbandry, poultry and fishing, etc., and their importance for the people. After brief description of glorious past rural industries, the growth after independence has been narrated. This unit has also familiarized the learners with the development of rural economy from Jajjanani system to modern rural economy. In it, due attention has given to caste in the context of Jajjanani system, land management for the advancement in agricultural output, regional imbalance, the role of khadi and village industry have also been discussed in Unit 2.12. Keywords. Jajjanani system. It is a system of patent socio-economic relationship between caste, i.e. service provider, and service receiver. Cropping intensity. It refers to the intensity of the use of land. The number of times crops are grown in the same field within the same cropping year. Jamindari system. It was land tenure system introduced in 1793 by East India Company in Bengal and Orissa. Green Revolution. The later half of 60s saw substantial increase in agricultural production and yield per hectare, particularly wheat production in northern part of India. It was mainly because of use of HIV seed and modern technology. The era called Green Revolution. Land management. It referred to the rational use of land for the optimum output and profit for sustainable growth. Agrarian society. It refers to the form of social relationship of those who depend on agriculture for their livelihood. Thank you for watching. See you in next video.